Hello everyone, my name is Quoc. I'm from University of Wollongong in Australia. I'm very happy to present our work to the SRS 2020. Our work is about a general framework for constructing puncturable encryption from the so-called delegatable fully key-homomorphic encryption. This is the joint work of me with Professor Susilo, Dr. Dung, and Professor Pieprzyk. This is the outlines of my presentation. In the first part, I will give an introduction to puncturable encryptions, prior works, and our main results. In the second part, I will give an overview and techniques that we exploited in our work. In the third part, I will present our general framework for constructing puncturable encryptions. In the fourth, I will demonstrate a specific construction of puncturable encryption based on lattices. The last part is for conclusion and future works. Okay, let's start with the first part. So, what is puncturable encryption? Puncturable encryption is a kind of public key encryption that allows to revoke decryption capability by updating the decryption keys. So, formally, puncturable encryption has four main algorithms: keygen, encryption, puncture, and decryption. We encrypt a message mule together with some text, T1 up to TD, and we update the decryption keys using some punchers, TI star. And the puncturing property of puncturable encryptions guarantee that if there exists at least one punchers, TK star, that's equal to some text TK included in the ciphertext, then we cannot decrypt the ciphertext to get the original messages. Otherwise, we only can decrypt the ciphertext using the decryption key, the current decryption key. Okay, so actually, puncturable encryption has many interesting applications in cryptography, especially it supports fine-grained forward security. Okay, this is the security model for puncturable encryption. We are considering the selective version of IND-CPA. In this game, adversary has to announce his touches text, T-hat. And the adversary can make some punchers query, PQTK star. Whenever receiving the queries, the challenger has to respond with a puncher key. An adversary can also make corrupt query. At this point, the challenger has to respond with the most recent puncher key. However, before doing that, the challenger had to check some conditions relating to the difference between the puncher and the touch text to guarantee that there is at least one puncher belong to the touch text. In the challenge phase, after getting to message mu0 and mu1 from the adversary, the challengers first also check whether or not the puncher query and the touchy tags, there is at least one puncher and one touchy tag is the same or not. If yes, then the challenger choose uniformly at random a bit B from 0 and 1, and then encrypt mu B together with the touchy tag th1 up to th, and respond the challenge ciphertext ct. Finally, the adversary had to guess the value of B. He wins if B equal to B prime. Okay, so there have been many works dealing with puncturable encryption so far. Each word proposes a general framework and also proposes one or more specific construction. And the security of the proposals are proved in ROM, in random oracle model, or in standard model. Some of them support unbounded bounded number of stacks and bounded number of punches. Some others support unbounded number of stacks and unbounded number of punches. Actually, there has been no any proposal so far that supports simultaneously post-quantum security and negligible correctness error. So our work propose the general framework for puncturable encryption from the so-called delegatable fully key-homomorphic encryption. And we also demonstrate a specific construction used based on the decisional learning with errors. Our proposal is secure in standard model, supports a predetermined number of tags and a limited number of punches. However, our proposal enjoys post-quantum security and negligible correctness error thanks to the decisional learning with errors problem. And this is the efficiency of our proposal. So you can see here, the public key size is linear dependent on the number of tags. However, the secret key size is independent of both number of tags and number of punches. Punches key size is a quadratic function in number of punches, and ciphertext size is linearly dependent on the number of tags as public key size. Okay. Note that by applying breakage key and Vicon-Tanatan words, we might obtain a version that supports unbounded number of tags. Okay, let's move on to the next part. So for general framework, we start from the so-called fully key-homomorphic encryption by Bonnet et al. In this work to get delegatable fully key-homomorphic encryption. So what is fully key-homomorphic encryption? Apart from the normal public key encryption, in fully key-homomorphic encryption, a message is encrypted together with some text T to get the ciphertext CTT. However, before being decrypted, the ciphertext has to be evaluated by some algorithm named evil, together with a pair of value y and a function f, to get the new ciphertext CTF. Accordingly, the secret key SK has also to be evaluated using Key-Hom together with the value y and the function f to obtain the new secret key SKF. Using SKF with CTF by decryption algorithm, we can recover the original message mu if the conditions ft equal to y satisfied. Okay, so delegatable fully key-homomorphic encryption is a generalization of fully key-homomorphic encryption, in the sense that we can evaluate at the same time many functions. So you can see here we can evaluate a tuple of value y and many function f. From that, we can get a new ciphertext and new secret key. New secret key. Now we have to generalize the algorithm evil to the algorithm as evil. And similarly, we have to generalize Key-Hom to K-Del to do that. Okay, and for the construction of puncturable encryption from delegatable fully key-homomorphic encryption, we define a family of functions of equality test function f t star t, in which t star belongs to ZQ and t is a vector over ZQ, defined by a summation of EQ star T1 up to EQ star TD, in which EQ star is the basis equality test function compared to integer t star and t. If t equal to t star, then equal t star t equal to 1 modulo q. Otherwise, eq t star t equal to y0 modulo q for some y0 in ZQ. Okay, and now for each puncher ti, we can compute, we can define the corresponding function f FTI star. FTI star. Okay. So now we can apply the working way of delegatable fully key-homomorphic encryption for puncturable encryption like this. A ciphertext will be evaluated together with the value y0 and the functions according to t star 1 up to t star eta. And similarly to the secret key SK. And now we see that okay. So this is the formal definition of delegatable fully key-homomorphic encryption. So I will skip it. And this is the security model for delegatable fully key-homomorphic encryption. Again, we only consider the selective version of IDCPA. In this game, adversary has to announce his target text, and the adversary can make delegatable key query on input a value y and a tuple of functions f1 up to fk. And whenever getting the query, the challenger has to respond the new secret key evaluated by K-Hom and K-Del like this. Okay, and the rest are the same. The same as the security of puncturable encryption. Okay, and this is the security reduction from delegatable fully key-homomorphic encryption to puncturable encryption. Assuming that we have an adversary A can win the game for puncturable encryption, then using A as a subroutine, we can construct an adversary B that can win the game for the FKHG by simply whenever the adversary B gets the puncture query from the adversary A, then he compute the corresponding function, and then send the delegatable puncturable query to the challenger to get the response, and he will forward the response to the adversary A, and the environment of A is simulated perfectly. Then finally the adversary A will output against B prime. At that point, the adversary just outputs whatever the adversary A outputs. Okay. So for specific construction in lattices, we need lattice key homomorphic mechanisms and lattice chapter mechanisms. So we have three algorithms: evo PK, evo CT, and evo SIM. in which eval pk can transform a tuple of matrix into a matrix according to a function f. And using eval ct, we can transform a tuple of having this form to this form. And similarly, we can use the algorithm eval sim to transform this inequality to this inequality. Okay, and this is the trapdoor mechanism very familiar in lattice cryptography, in lattice space cryptography. Okay, so I will skip it. And this is the puncturable encryption based on learning with error problem. In this construction, we define the function which y0 equal to 0. Meaning that if t star equal to t, then eqt star t equal to 1 modulo q, otherwise eqt star t equal to 0 modulo q. And we use dual rep mechanism for constructing puncturable encryption. Actually, this is inspired the construction from BGG plus 14, in which the authors proposed an LWE-based F fully Key-Homomorphic encryption. Okay, so now is for the conclusion. We have discussed the general framework of constructing puncturable encryption from delegatable fully Key-Homomorphic encryption, and also a specific public key puncturable encryption based on decisional learning with errors. And these are some future words. Thank you very much.